Hello, ladies and gentlemen, a very big welcome to you, and I hope you're having a fantastic day today. So, we're going to talk about China, specifically the China F1. So, the sprint race is done. I was surprised. I was surprised at the pace of the Ferraris. Once again, I wasn't surprised at Haas and that. I was a little surprised that Lawson still isn't pulling the pace. The tire degradation that we've seen was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Shanghai has always been a bad one on tires, but I wasn't quite expecting them to drop off that fast. As we've seen when, geez, what was his name? I forget already. Carlos Sainz. And we've seen Carlos Sainz come in for that pit and come out with fresh tires. What was that, around lap 11, 12? And he was, when he came out with fresh mediums, he was pulling 2 seconds a lap faster than Hamilton, who was leading. So you could see just how much degradation there was on those tires, especially him coming out to Williams. Once again, Williams did surprise me because they were looking really, really good, and then all of a sudden they were just being themselves. I don't understand why. I mean, Alex Albon ended up where Alex Albon usually ends up, but I was expecting to see a bit more out of Lawson. I will admit that. That Lawson, I don't think Lawson's going to last in Red Bull. I think if he doesn't pull his head out, he's never going to last. And I think that's going to be the biggest detriment to him. I don't know if they pulled him up too fast. Maybe I was, as in my comment in my last video regarding Australia, maybe they should have left him in the Racing Bulls and moved Tsunoda up. Because Tsunoda really did show some promise. And, I mean, the fact that Tsunoda pulled out sixth in the sprint, awesome. Good for him. It's good to see him actually doing really well, rather than last couple of years it's been so spotty with him. But yeah, so I'll admit I'm wrong. And if Ferrari can keep up the pace, if Ferrari can keep doing what they're doing, I think Ferrari has a chance for the Constructors' Championship this year. Maybe even Hamilton was shot at the World Championship. I think I'm going to drop my prediction of Red Bull racing for the Constructors' Championship because without the second player, they're just not going to be able to do it, and that's a fact. So either Lawson has to pull up the pace and start getting up into the points and high into the points, because Verstappen cannot carry the points alone to get the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari were in the top five, both Ferraris. McLaren were in the top seven. So, I mean, maybe if Piastri hadn't hit the gravel and put himself all the way back, then maybe McLaren would have been higher in the points. But anyway, so that's a sprint. I mean, action-wise, there was a lot of action. Like in the tail of the field, there were a lot of great overtakes by Hajar and oh, shut up, printer. Yeah, Hajar and Ocon, Baltello, they were having a good race back there. We did have a decent gap come in at the end there between first and second, so it wasn't as close as Australia was. But I mean, time will tell, and we'll see what happens on the feature race in China. In regards to qualifying, once again, it was a showing because Piastri pulled that out of his ass. George Russell starting in second, that's a really good start for him. It shows that he has basically thrown himself into the contendership. And what else was there? Isaac Hadjar, out of nowhere. I mean, in Australia, crashed out. But and in the sprint, it was down there at the bottom of the field. But qualifying for the feature race, I mean, he qualified seventh, which I think is a really good look at his possibility in the future. Like not right now, but give him like 5 years if he lasts in Formula One. I could see him really fighting for the seat of Verstappen because you know Verstappen's going to move teams eventually. I mean, especially if Red Bull doesn't pull their socks up, he's going to do a Hamilton and look for a faster team. Although, looking at the qualifying results, I mean, I didn't watch it live. I watched the replay because the race was on at 3:30 in the morning, or the qualifying was on at 3:30 in the morning here. At least with the sprint race. The sprint race started at midnight, and I'm old, so staying up at 3:30 in the morning is a little ridiculous for me. But I mean, the two Ferraris, fifth and sixth, good showing for them. Depending on how good they start, I think it's going to basically be how they go. Norris and Verstappen starting side by side, that's going to be a decent start as long as Norris doesn't, or as long as neither of them crap the start. One thing that did surprise me was Ocon in the Haas in 11th and Hulkenberg in the Sauber in 12th. I had predicted those two were just going to sit down the bottom like they usually do. But coming at 20th is Liam Lawson in a Red Bull. Meanwhile, his racing partner, who they should technically, theoretically, have the same equipment. Verstappen was his in fourth, and Lawson's in 20th. So, as I said, they need to look at Lawson. They need to either get his mental state in the point where he's actually going to be racing for points, or they need to either look at throwing him down there, bringing Sonoda up, or just getting rid of him altogether and bringing back Ricciardo. Yeah, we know that's not going to happen. I mean, I wish it would because Ricciardo is like my second favorite driver of all time. And I would love to see Ricciardo back in Formula One. Unfortunately, I think Ricciardo has hit the end of his season. I don't really see him coming back at all. I think the only chance that he would really have to get a seat back is maybe in Cadillac next year. But I think with a Cadillac being an American team, I think they're going to try and bring more American drivers into it. As long as it's not Scott Speed. I remember when he raced. He was pretty special. But yeah, I can probably see when Cadillac comes in next year, I could probably see them bringing in more American drivers, or trying to bring up American drivers. Maybe get like one seasoned driver and like an American driver in there, just so that they can basically be like, yeah, USA. But I mean, they're going to be racing with Ferrari engines next year. So if Ferrari does well this year, then I think Cadillac next year, where they're going to be racing with Ferrari, although it is the 2026 hybrid or new engines. So, I mean, you can basically throw out all projections for next year because nobody knows what those engines are going to do and nobody knows how those engines are going to perform. But I'm trying to have like less breaks because somebody commented on one of my videos that I go silent too much. But that's what they say at work too. I'm constantly getting comments at work from our QA team. You have too much dead air. And it's like, well, that's because I'm usually typing and trying to like work out shit. But anyway, so yeah, my big surprises for the sprint race was Hamilton's speed. It was basically the passing and congestion at the tail of the field, or lower tail, lower mid. And my big surprises for the qualifying really was, had Jarren and Sonoda both been in the top 10. And it's been a while since you've seen racing. Well, what were they called? Toro Rosso, and then it was oh, jeez, I can't remember what they were called last year. Anyway, it's been a while since we've seen both of them in the top 10. And I mean, Liam Lawson, that surprised the hell out of me that even Perez wasn't that bad. Like Perez's last season was pretty bad. Let's admit it. I mean, Perez's last season was not the best, but at least Perez wasn't starting from 20th constantly. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so that's been my thoughts on it, my surprises, what I think. If you like what you see, make sure you like button, hit that subscribe button, and come on back.